Welcome friends! Today we're talking about cool flowers and what makes them special, what's the timing for it. I have some really great props, the Cool Flowers book from Lisa Mason-Siegler, as well as my journal with the timing, so I hope this video will really be helpful for you. What is really important to understand though is in which growing zone you are. What are growing zones? We've talked about that before in a different video, but I'll quickly repeat it. The growing zone determines when is your last frost date in spring. The last frost date marks the date typically when it's safe in spring to plant your flowers. And then in fall, it's the first frost date when it's generally too cold or too frosty to keep your plants growing. So for today, it's important to know those dates. This is determined by the growing zone, and you can just Google in which growing zone you are and it will pop it right on your screen. We are a growing zone 6B over here. This is really important for the concept of the cool flowers because depending on what zone you are, you can even plant them out in fall. But today it's all about the zone 6 where I am, so please keep that in mind with the dates and everything what I tell you here. Cool. So what's the concept of cool flowers? So the concept is, and I think Lisa Mason-Siegler with her book introduced that into the industries a few years ago. Certain flowers or certain varieties are cold tolerant so that they actually can be planted out quite early in the year. What do we mean with like planting them out very, very early? Zone 6, it means 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date. Just to give you an idea, my last frost date is typically mid-May. So calculating back 6 to 8 weeks, this means beginning of April, and even if I would really stretch it, even March, which I think it's a little bit of a stretch here knowing how the weather usually is that time of the year. But for example, last year I planted out my Lithianthus seedlings. I think it was April 4th or 9th, like first week of April, and they did amazing. And this is pretty much the same planting time frame what we're aiming for here. What are examples for cool flowers? Snapdragons, for example, stock, yarrow, bells of Ireland, like anything also what kind of is known for seeding well, bachelor buttons, for example. Like there is a whole list of potential flowers you can use, and again, if you get the book, they're all marked there and really nicely described when you need to plant them and what are the planting conditions as well. For me, this is an experiment, so please take this video with a grain of salt. I love garden experiments because that makes everything just so much more interesting. And one of my goals is to really have flowers non-stop for cutting, like cut flowers, starting from Mother's Day. So that's why I'm so motivated to try a few things to stretch the season here, and we'll see how it goes. So you can follow me along. I'll certainly will provide updates on how that goes. And we'll just see, yeah, if this is going to be a success. So what I'm doing is I looked up, there is a really nice, let me actually show you that. There's a really nice table in the book, which, no, it was at the end somewhere. Oh, there it is. Like at the very end of the book, page 138, and this shows what are your different type of varieties and what winter hardiness zone it is. So if it's your zone, like if it's a zone 6 in my case, I would be able to sow them in fall. If the zone is lower or like a warmer zone, which you're not, then you are supposed to plant them early spring. I've also, like, I have a link for this book in the comments, of course, but also a link to a more extensive list where you can find more varieties, not just the ones in the book. I think she added over the time more varieties to this, and it's a really great resource because it shows right away which ones are in your zone, which not, and you can like make checkbox planting in fall or planting in spring. Really cool. This is down below in the description as well, together with the link to a podcast Lisa Mason-Siegler did together with Joe Gardner, which was a really great episode as well on the same topic. So if you want to dive in deeper and educate yourself even more beyond this video, feel free to do so. That was a really great episode. So how do I turn this information now into a practical plan for me and what I want to plant? Plan in my journal for it. So as you can see here, I marked the week I want to plant those varieties out. So those are all the cool flowers I have here on the bottom, also ranunculus and anemones. Just ignore those. They are even slightly earlier, but that is time for another video very soon. But when we look here just at the top ones, you'll see I'll marked the early March, the early April window here as the time when I want to plant them out, and looked up how long each variety needs to get established and needs to get going in terms of weeks to get them seed started. So for example, stock seems to grow very quick. Same for the Olea and the Nigella. Those ones theoretically you could plant direct in the fall as well, just seeding them like poppies in the fall, and they will grow. I didn't have seeds in the fall yet, so I'll see how they do and start them inside as well. And then the other ones, the snapdragons, the yarrow, and the bells of Ireland, I'll start all inside. And you can see here, most of them, like the yarrow and the snapdragons, I'll start very soon, probably next week, which is the first week of February, to just get them going. They will be started in soil blocks, but this is the plan I have to really get those seedlings ready beginning of April. This is also for me a great timing to flip those ones outside, because this is then also the moment when I have all my summer veggies in the starting rotation. This is actually right at the time when I start my tomatoes, so they can basically vacate the spot in my seed starting rack to surrender it to the tomatoes then. For some reason my brain always keeps potatoes and tomatoes together. I don't know why, it's some weird interconnection here. Anyway, but it's a really great way to get seedlings going, get them out early. I hope they will survive. We have really strange weather this winter here, so who knows, but I'll definitely want to try them. Whenever I do an experiment, I try to hedge my bets a little bit, so I might keep a few seedlings inside to just have them grow along for another 4 weeks, or pot them up even just to be on the safe side for them. Or what these ones will do very well with as well as winter sowing. So I might have a few of those varieties as well in winter sowing containers, just to have a backup, right? So whenever I do an experiment, I always try to have like at least a small number of plants as a backup or as a safety net if something goes wrong, and that's just one of my recommendations here. Yep, so that's something what I'm going to try. It will be a really cool experiment. And now I'm wondering, have you ever tried growing cool flowers? Do you have any experience with it? When do you put them out? So I would love to hear that in the comments. I would also love to hear which zone you are, so we have the context with it, which zone puts the cool flowers out in which moment in time. That will help other viewers as well to get some knowledge out of that. Cool. So if you like this type of content, please subscribe and watch another video. Thank you.